G'day guys, welcome to another video on My Blue Heaven. The season is fast approaching. It won't be long before we are playing full-scale practice matches against opposition. We've got the Cats in a match sim sort of set up, and then we take, I think it's the D's, before we then travel to the Gabba in round one against the Brisbane Lions. So looking forward to it. In this video, I've been wanting to do this for quite a while. I was going to do it last year, but didn't get around to it. And it might be a long one. I want to rank our list, the 44 players who are on our list right here, right now, from worst to the best player. I don't like using the word worst, particularly when you consider that some of these players, or a lot of these players, haven't had the opportunity yet to even play senior football at Carlton. But for the sake of this exercise, yeah, I will do that. Last year, we used 37 players last year. We ended up with 45 players at our football club on our list last year. 37 players played at least one senior game. That is quite a few. So your list needs to bat deep. And I think the Pies used around about the same mark as well, and they won the premiership. And it did show as the season progressed that a strong list with reasonable depth can take you places, and I think we've got that now. Only 8 players from last year didn't play a senior game, and some of those were with season-ending injuries. So the 8 players who didn't play a senior game last year were Zach Williams, Sam Philp, who were pretty much, their season was finished before the start of the year. Williams with an ACL, and I think Philp with ongoing hip and groin concerns. We had Alex Murkoff, the developing ruckman, who had heart surgery last year. And then some youngsters, Harry Lemmy, Jackson Binns, Hudson OKeefe didn't play a senior game, and Sam Durden and Dominic AQ, who are pretty much backup defenders, also didn't play senior football at Carlton last year, but everyone else did. This year, we currently have 44 players, so that's what I'll rank right here, right now. We know we've lost Jack Silvani, and there's a little bit of concern around the fitness of Jacob Wiedering as we go into round one. Last year, we added some players just before the start of the season, Alex Chincotta and Hudson OKeefe. Hudson OKeefe was the first player we added on the 9th of Feb. He pretty much replaced Sam Philp. And then Alex Chincotta, who had been training with us over the pre-season, was going to play VFL football for us last year regardless. He was then added to our list on, I think it was around about February the 15th, and he replaced the injured Zach Williams. So I want to rate our 44 players right here, right now. Now, we are down to 43 at the moment, given the season-ending injury to Jack Silvani. And there's no doubt we may even add another player over the course of the next few weeks or so. But it's an interesting exercise to rank our list right here, right now. So let's go with number 44. Someone has to go at number 44, and that player is Matthew Carrol, who we picked up in last year's rookie draft, taken at pick number 15. Premiership player with the Sandringham Dragons as a medium-sized defender. Also played quite well in the Vic Metro team in last year's under-18 national championships. Good size at 190 centimetres. Still just 18 years of age. But given we have a number of players who can play that position on our list at the moment, you would think it'd be pretty much a development year for Matthew Carrol. Like the fact that he's a good user by foot, relatively good overhead, and has got a good balance of both the attacking side of the game and also the ability to lock down on a dangerous forward, Matthew Carrol. Number 43, Dominic AQ, goes into his 3rd year on our list, scored a 1-year contract. First ever player taken from our academy. Next generation prospect. So we've never had one, so I understand the club investing the time in him. Plus he's got some great athletic traits, particularly his leap. Not a bad intercept grab. Bit of a highlights reel at times. Hasn't played a senior game yet. But at 194 centimetres, he does give you a little bit of depth and a little bit of coverage. And the club, I would say, want to give him at least one more year to see how he develops over the course of 2024. But from my point of view, I can't see this youngster being at the Carlton Football Club beyond this year. At number 42, Rob Monahan, signed last year in August as a Category B rookie. The Irishman from Carrol played Gaelic football. He's only 19 years of age. And what I've seen at open training, and I know it's only training at this stage, he's an extremely exciting prospect. Fast, powerful, good agility, and already appears to have picked up the game and what the game is all about. He's got a bit to learn still, nice skills, and can play, I reckon, just about anywhere across the ground, whether that's forward, down, back, and maybe in time through the midfield, although that may be a bit of a problem at Carlton considering how strong our midfield is. But Robbie Monahan, guys, look out for him. At 41, we have 210 centimetre giant Alex Murkoff. He's had a wretched run since he arrived as a mid-season draft pick a few years back now, and at 24 years of age, maybe time's running out for the big fella. Knee injury, then a heart condition certainly has stopped his progress, and he needs a lot of development still. Anyone at 210 centimetres, you take a punt on, and that's what we've done. But at this stage, I have him fourth in line in our ruck stocks. The problem being with big Alex Murkoff is he's pretty much one-dimensional. It's either win the hit-outs and give your midfielders first use, but after that, he doesn't offer a lot else, whether it's at ground level, paving a way for his midfielders with blocks and bumps and tackles, or taking marks around the ground. He's not a big clearance win player. So it's a big year for Murkoff, but at this stage, considering his development and considering he's missed a fair chunk of football, he's well behind the 8 ball. At 40, I'm going to go with another ruckman on our list, Hudson OKeefe, 19 years of age, first year at the football club in 2023. Maybe a tad undersized as a big bulking ruckman at 202 centimetres, but he's very mobile. Really got his opportunities last year in the VFL. When Alex Murkoff went down, it was him and Harry Lemmy who shouldered the ruck work in the VFL, and he did particularly well and had some big games throughout the season. We'll get a bit more time to develop as a ruckman. Not so much a concern, but can this kid develop his game even more than just being a ruckman? Can he go forward and be an option forward? That's the big question mark for me. But he certainly has the attributes in terms of competitiveness and athletic traits to be a big chance of playing senior football over the next few years at the Carlton Football Club. Hudson OKeefe. At 39, I've got Billy Wilson. If he arrived at the club, say 5 years ago, he'd probably be straight into the seniors. That's how impressive he is, particularly at training. Had a big year in the Coates Talent League last year for the Dandenong Stingrays. He has got incredible pace. We picked him up with pick number 34 in the draft last year. He can play across half-back, but I think eventually down the track, we can see him as a midfielder. He's got beautiful skills on both sides of the body, and he's got a really competitive edge to him. Who knows, in 12 months' time, this kid mightn't be 39. He could be potentially top 30, even top 20 at our football club. Another player going into his first year at the Carlton Football Club, Ashton Moore from Glenelg in South Australia, is our first pick in last year's national draft at pick 29. He's that hybrid forward that we've been, I suppose, crying out for a long time now. Had a bit of an interrupted pre-season thus far. Probably hasn't been on the track as impressive as Billy Wilson, but this kid's got some real X factor about him. Standing at about 188 centimetres, still growing, has the capacity to play both tall and small, and is a real handful for defenders. Didn't have a great national championships last year, but his bottom age year at under 18 level was absolutely outstanding. And at that stage in 2022, it looked like he was going to be potentially the number one draft pick. That's Ashton Moore at number 38. I look forward to seeing how he goes this season at our football club. At number 37, I think he's going to be a really interesting watch in 2024. That is South Australian Harry Lemmy, second year at the football club, 20 years of age, big unit at 201 centimetres. I think his main attributes is his ability to be able to find space and lead up uncontested marks between the arcs as that sort of classic centre half forward. Does he have at this stage the real aggression and real intensity and X factor to make it at this level? Time will only tell. The thing I liked about his season in the VFL last year is that he started relatively slowly, but when given an opportunity, when Alex Murkoff went down, he and Hudson OKeefe were able to share that ruck role. So he showed another string to his bow by sort of being able to demonstrate that he's just not a key forward. He also can pinch hit in a ruck, which is pretty important in this day and age, particularly if you want to take two ruckmen into a game. So whether he gets any opportunities this year, we're just going to have to wait and see. But he has put on some considerable muscle over the pre-season. And what I've seen at open training, he's actually performing quite well. So that's Harry Lemmy. At 36, going to go with Sam Durden. There's no doubt that Sam Durden at 27 years of age has got the experience because he played 20-odd games for North Melbourne and has been in that state league system for an extended period of time now. So he's got a big body. My concern with Sam Durden is not the fact that he's limited, but he does spend a fair amount of time in the injury room. Played the one game when he first arrived at Icon Park from South Australia as a mid-season rookie pickup, and has spent a considerable amount of time throughout this pre-season with a hamstring concern. With Jacob Wiedering down at the moment, it's probably out of him and Lewis Young as that next man in line to take on the classic gorilla type forward. He is steady and reliable, and funny thing is with Sam Durden, when he first arrived at AFL level at North Melbourne, he was a key forward, but he's found his way down back. And he's your classic lockdown defender who can, take an intercept mark here or there and has got relatively neat skills. I think he's purely insurance though. I have Lewis Young at this stage in front as Sam Durden as that next big key defender at the Carlton Football Club. This might be a bit of a surprise to some, but at number 35 on our list, I'm going to go with Jack Carroll. He's coming into his fourth season at Icon Park, and this will be the last year of a contract, so he's out of contract at the end of this year. So it's a big year for him. It really is. Just played the 6 games, played 5 in his second season. He strung those 5 together, only played the 1 last year. Had some injury concerns. There's no doubt the club have invested a fair bit in him, and rightly so. He was the youngest player taken in the 2020 national draft, and that first year was affected by COVID as well. So it's been a little bit of a disruption for him. He's got a really big and strong body, and he's improving slowly. But whether he's improving at a rate, given he's a midfielder, as quickly as the club will like. That's very debatable. My big concern with Jack Carroll, he doesn't necessarily have a point of difference. He is able to weave in and out of traffic, which is good. But what I mean by a point of difference, he doesn't have great power or speed, and he's not a very good kick. In fact, I would say it's probably the weakest part of his game. Whether that is under pressure or whether that is when he's got time and space, he does butcher the ball quite a bit, which is a bit of a shame because you would think if he was an elite kick, he would be getting more opportunities. So it's a huge year for Jack Carroll. I think he's way behind the pecking order, but hopefully we will see some opportunities for him in the practice matches.